Alright gamers, it's no secret that Twilight Imperium is one of my favorite games of all time. That's why today I want to go through all 3 print and plays of Twilight Imperium, the Twilight Imperium Codex. Check this out. Codex 1 is the simplest one to explain. It has extra action cards, extra tech. Sometimes if you have a first printing of the game, it has updated cards for certain tech cards that they misprinted on there. And then of course it comes with more promissory notes. Now, the instructions and rule books of all 3 of these codexes come with new ways to set up your galaxy, and it also explains the action cards and technology and promissory notes in the rule book. Codex 2 is probably the most complex of the 3. It gives you more relic cards, a new way to play the game, which is an alliance mode. What you're doing is you're shuffling these backs of cards, giving out them to every player, and they're playing in teams. But these are like little faction cards that basically give you all your information about everything about your faction in one little card. I really love these. It's better than taking your little player board and moving it up to see what starting tech and starting ships you have and then having to flip it back over. This gives you all that information right there at the top, plus any special abilities, flagships, mech special abilities, your commodities, all here on one simple card. These are awesome. Of course, you will also get alliance cards here. Each player will have 2 of their own, and then 1 to give to their alliance buddy with a special ability that they can use. Now, when you're playing the alliance game variant, there are certain rules that have changed now. For instance, you can change commodities. Let's say these 2 teams, red and yellow, are on the same team. They have an alliance. They can exchange commodities between the 2 of themselves. However, they can't convert them to trade goods. But if red needs more commodities to make a trade maybe with orange player, yellow can provide those. Also, if they give promissory notes to each other, they can't use those promissory notes, but they could, like red could give yellow one of their promissory notes, which they could give to the black player or whatnot. So they can't give each other promissory notes, they can't trade with one another. However, as movement goes, they can pass through one another without having to fight. They can also have multiple forces on the same planet and both defend each other's planets. They can also exchange planets when they're rearranging their command tokens if there is an army on that planet. So if yellow owns this planet, he may give this planet to red, and vice versa. They can also carry other players' troops if they wanted to. So if yellow goes, hey, I need that mech over here, red can transport that yellow over there. On combat, they can also fight together on the ground or in the air, because let's say that red player was going to go somewhere and take over and fight maybe, I don't know, blue. Well, if yellow player was around and could get to them, out of turn, they could play a command token from their pool and also join them in the battle. Now, these 2, of course, wouldn't fight each other. It'd be 2 versus 1, or maybe 2 versus 2. Now, a few things I want to point out. You can't claim public objectives counting on your alliance units as 2. So if it says you have to have 5 units in these areas, you can't count your alliance units as well. You have to be on your own. Also, you don't share technology either. Just because one person has it doesn't mean you get it too. Now, how this game ends is one player has to get to 14 on the track and the second player has to get to 10. Codex 3 involves more secret missions, more deep space exploration cards, updated leader cards for certain factions, and of course a new faction here, the Council Kelpers, which do some amazing stuff here. You can look at that stuff online. But yeah, this is one of the sheets there and a little backstory, just like all the other factions there. They have leaders for that faction, homeworlds for that faction. Basically, and it says right here, if you pick the, and I'm going to butcher these names, the Mentak, the Zexa, or the Argent Flight, you can exchange that alien race for this faction, because they basically represent all 3. So you would take their emblems, all their tokens, and their home planet, but just play with this player board here. I will say the Council Kelpers come with a special little city that is located on Mechatol Rex, and this little super city basically says that anyone who scores victory points or public objectives using the number 8 objective, you will get 2 extra command tokens each time. And of course, that's what this little card says right here. And finally, I wanted to show you a few things that I had printed out by someone. He gave me this special little track counter that goes all the way up to 16 for some reason, but I love that. I got extra little tokens here with the Council Keepers emblem on it, so I can play as the Council Keepers. And all three of those alien races that could be the Council Keepers, I have redesigned tiles here that have the Council Keepers emblem on it, so I can play as the Council Keepers with their emblems. But this is not included in Codex 3. This was something that was specially printed out for me. Final thoughts. What do I think about the game? Well, I mean, the game I love, but what do I think about the codexes? The first one, I will tell you this. If you have a newer version of the game, 4th edition, some of those cards you will not need. Some of those cards correct the first printing cards that there were some misprints in there. But there are new tech cards, there are new special faction tech cards, of course, promissory notes and action cards. Some of those action cards are incredible. You can look at the rule book online, and I didn't have time to go, I didn't want to go in and explain each one here, but I'm really happy to have those. Those you can easily find on Etsy for about 20 bucks. You can just pick those up anytime, and I think they're pretty good quality. For Codex number 2, the Alliance variant. We have played with the Alliance variant now just once, and I will say this, it does change the game. It does alter the game. You are trying to work together with a partner to not only get to 14, but also help your partner get and score those things. I love that you can give them certain planets as long as they have an army on it. I love how you're working together as a team. It forces you, using your alliance leaders, using your agents. You can share agents now and help that other player. It gives you someone you can trust, which is kind of rare because, of course, Twilight Imperium is a game of distrust. You don't know who you can trust, but you know in this one you at least have your alliance buddy to trust. Now, as a house rule, we go ahead and make our teams ahead of time. Usually we pit the best player against the least best player or the new player, and that thereby making the teams a little bit more even. Before we even select, we randomly select the aliens too, because there are 2 aliens. you probably know them, the Gene Splicers, I can't think of their names right now, and Necrovirus, who actually hurt their partner. They don't really help you at all. And that's fine. But the Alliance version of the game is really neat. I really like it. It's a different way to play. I don't know if I'd play it every time like that, but I am interested in having more games of the Alliance variant. So that's another one you can get off Etsy for about 20 bucks too, and it's up to you whether you want it or not. Those extra relic cards are nice, but not necessary if you're thinking about all these. So the third one, with the Kelpers, that's really cool. A new faction with different abilities. I didn't say this, but their flagship, if you move onto their flagship, you have to spend 2 influence. That's kind of neat. They kind of mix the rules up for them. They have little special abilities that they can spend an influence and ignore all laws that you've put into play for 1 turn. That's kind of neat, but it's not super powerful because they always have to keep spending, influence to avoid those rules or those established laws. So again, I think it's a perfectly balanced faction, and I really am impressed with that. Now, of course, all the extra print and play stuff, the cardboard tokens, I just had someone who was extremely talented make those for me, and I am super thankful for that. Overall, should you get the codexes? It is up to you. It is player's choice here. For me, I love everything about Twilight Imperium. I just found out about these earlier this year. It blew my mind. These have been coming out almost like once a year. There's 3 out right now, and I'm sure another one will come out soon enough. But I'd rather have an expansion, of course, but just getting those print and play stuff and seeing the different ideas that they're coming out with, that's kind of neat. I really like that. I want to see more of that. I'm actually on the hunt for any homebrew factions and cardboard tokens that match it, or homebrew objectives, or strategy cards. I've seen new strategy cards too. Man, I'm kind of opening up on this world of where fans can create all these things, and sometimes they're really good. And yeah, I'm just obsessed with this game. I have played it more this year than the past 2 years combined. So Twilight Imperium, obviously the game for me. I love the codexes. It is up to you on whether you want to get them or not. And I believe, I don't know, I haven't checked Etsy as of this video, but I'm sure someone has the 3rd codex print and play available. Or if you know someone who knows how to print them out, go ahead and utilize them. That's what I did, and I am so thankful because, oh, I love those codexes. All right, gamers, that's it for now. Until next time, you know what to do. Play this game.